July the 23rd, 2026, Enugu Air Flight ENU 4264 flew from Lagos to Benin. The plane touched down and had an excursion. It ran off the end of the runway, smashes through a localizer. Everyone survives. The Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau (NSIB) has released its preliminary report of what happened on that fateful day. Now let's break it down. First officer was the one flying. The captain was monitoring the flight. That's standard procedure. But during approach briefing, the first officer said auto brakes are not working. Auto brake helps the plane to stop automatically after landing. If it's inoperable, pilots just use manual brakes. Now that's legal. Under the Minimum Equipment List (MEL), inoperable auto brakes has a window of about 120 days to be fixed. In this case, we don't know how long auto brakes of the Enugu Air has been inoperable. So at this point, there's no safety breach. At 2:42 p.m., Benin Tower radioed. Approach to runway 05 looks cloudy. Runway 23 looks better. The Enugu crew looked at their options and decided to continue on runway 05. 6 minutes later, Tower updated them. Visibility is 1,500 meters. With moderate rain and on final clearance, runway surface wet. We now have two established facts: no auto brakes and wet runway. Stay with me. The flight data recorder shows the aircraft touched down about 1,641 meters on runway 05. Total runway available 2,400 meters. That left them with roughly 750 meters to stop the plane on the runway. But there was a third challenge: the wind. The Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau calculated a tailwind of about 12 knots at the runway threshold. Touchdown, it was still 6.4 knots. Tailwind is when an aircraft is flying in the direction of the wind, whilst headwind is when the aircraft is flying on the opposite direction of the wind. Okay, so Enugu Air touched down very fast due to tailwind with manual brakes. The plane ran off the runway, went into the grass, and hit a concrete. The landing gear broke off. All 68 passengers got out. No fire, which was great. Now, this is where the story shifts. The Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau has issued 4 recommendations, and these are not about the aircraft. These recommendations are about the airport in Benin. 1. The fixed concrete, which is the old decommissioned localizer at the end of runway 05, should be removed. Now, that's Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria's responsibility. 2. The control tower couldn't see everything. There's an incomplete building blocking the view. Runway 05. Perhaps this was why the tower suggested runway 23 instead. NSIB recommendation: fix tower visibility, provide a tower location that can actually see the whole aerodrome. This is between Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria and Nigeria Airspace Management Agency, NAMA. Number 3, the weather display in the tower was unserviceable that particular day, which means no real-time weather, just it's raining. NSIB recommendation: it should be restored. That's Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET's responsibility. 4, tower told the crew runway is wet, but Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau (NSIB) found no formal runway condition report or runway condition code was transmitted. That's the data pilots use to calculate if they can land safely, especially with no functional auto brakes. Now that's between NAMA and NIMET. Let's sum it all up: aircraft limitation, bad weather, tailwind, missing runway data, plus physical hazards at the runway end, and poor tower visibility. NSIB is clear. This is a preliminary report. The final report will decide how much blame goes to Enugu Aircrew, its airline procedures, and Benin Airport. Now, my POV. This wasn't just one mistake. This was multiple layers of safety, all failing at the same time, with three agencies in the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development culpable: Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, Nigeria Meteorological Agency, and Nigeria Airspace Management Agency. But the warning is already loud. Aviation safety works like Swiss cheese. Every layer has holes. Accidents only happen when the holes line up. If the auto brakes had worked, maybe they'd stop. If there was no tailwind, maybe they'd stop. If the runway end was clear, maybe there wouldn't have been the damage to the aircraft. If the tower had better weather data, maybe they had chosen runway 23 or aborted. This is similar, but not the same circumstance, of the 2005 Sosoliso crash in Port Harcourt. The aircraft hit the concrete and caught fire. 103 packs, 7 crew, with only 2 survivors. So the question I'm leaving you with: when we all talk about flight safety in Nigeria, do we talk enough about the ecosystem? Drop your thoughts below. I'll be tracking this investigation and I'll break down the final report when it comes out. If you care about how travel, tourism, and trade really works in Africa, then hit follow or subscribe. I'm Tony Okachuku. See you on the next one.